So I didn't realize that we've been making like what is this, the third or fourth video on Ethan Crumbley. He was the shooter in Oxford, Michigan. And okay, so he's been charged with what, like 21 different charges. Most of them justifiable. The only one that I'm really concerned with is the terrorist charge. But again, he is a fucking piece of shit for shooting up his school, killing 4 of his fellow classmates. Well, they all weren't in his grade, obviously. They were all, 3 of them were older, one was younger, but still, he is a fucking piece of shit, and he should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. But I'm just talking specifically about him, okay? Not as big and as wide as this situation has become, because Michigan, when we talked about this last time, what was that, Thursday or Friday? It was something like that. We talked about this last time. Yeah, you started to get all the politicos coming out of the woodworks. And then when you're talking about Michigan, there's some very motivated actors there. So it was indicative of what's going to be coming. But first and foremost, the Daily Mail has an exclusive. The kid got high and he ended up going to work and he crashed into donk right there, as you can see. We'll just let the video play back, mostly because I find it hilarious. Clearly he was smoking dope with his brother and showed up to work and bunk, fucking went for a dive right into a cupboard. We'll just read the bullet points on this one. Video obtained by the Daily Mail shows Ethan Crumbley collapsing in the kitchen while working at 5-1 Diner in Oxford, Michigan last September. Footage shows the teen entering the room wobbly on his feet and swaying erratically before collapsing and slamming headfirst into a cabinet. Kind of funny, and I wish that it had like little goofy horns and shit. I'm sure meme makers out there are probably already on the case. Ethan's mother purportedly blamed it on her son not eating that day. I've gone through extended fasts, and I don't lose my fucking sense of balance that easily. But again, okay, maybe, but then you get down a little bit further. The owner also recalled confronting Ethan's older brother, Eli, last year after he was allegedly caught smoking dope in the back room in a separate incident. After she threatened to call his parents, Eli allegedly replied, "Where do you think I got it from?" Okay, just again, giving you a little bit of background into his parents. If you couldn't tell by the pictures themselves, yeah, obviously they're just like a working class in Michigan fucking family, and yeah, they probably partake in some beer and some bud because it's Michigan. What the fuck do you expect? And now they've all been charged with shit, which I find a little bit fucked up, okay? Mostly because your kid shot up a school, okay? Why are they being charged for it? I don't fucking get it. Let's just try to get into this. So Michigan shooting suspect's parents plead not guilty, say they weren't trying to flee. Yeah, they were arrested in Detroit. I want to get into this, mostly because it's like, oh, okay, you guys were charged with involuntary manslaughter, which, what? What? They didn't pull no fucking trigger or anything like that. Oh, but there's extenuating circumstances. You bought him the gun. And it's like, well, did they pull the trigger, though? Did they cause any deaths? That's going to be hard to prove, okay? The parents of the 15-year-old Michigan boy who allegedly opened fire in the high school this week pleaded not guilty on Saturday to involuntary manslaughter charges. Fucking why? Jennifer Crumbley, 49. Really? Huh. And James Crumbley, 45. You know what? For fucking popping out a kid that's a school shooter, they don't look that old, okay? So I guess props to the parents of a school shooter. That's weird. Appeared at a virtual Oakland County hearing after being apprehended by law enforcement at a vacant building in Detroit late Friday. I was like, okay, I seen this, okay? I didn't do a whole lot of research over the weekend, just kind of went off the internet because that's been nice lately, because the internet's kind of fucking retarded, kind of like these people. You were found by law enforcement late Friday in a vacant Detroit building, but you weren't fleeing or anything like that. Okay, listen, they shouldn't be charged with anything because I think that's pretty fucked for a multitude of reasons. And the logic behind this is fucking baffling to begin with. And obviously we'll get into the motivated reasoning behind the prosecutors levying these charges. But if you're going to be charged with this and then you're going to go on the run, obviously it can be brought up in trial. Okay, it has to be asked for beforehand. But the fact that they went on the run kind of leads more to them thinking that they're guilty of this. But again, this all just kind of seems like politically motivated in order to further erode Second Amendment rights. But Prosecutors say the pair are culpable because they stored the firearm their son is accused of using at Oxford High School in an unlocked drawer in their bedroom, and because they didn't alert authorities of the possibility he had a weapon on the day of the shooting. Interesting, right? Okay, and conflicting reports on that one. Actually, there's two of them out there. According to Michigan state statute, okay, Michigan state laws, these are, there is no reckless storage, if I could get the verbiage correct, but the basic gist of this, neglectful storage of a firearm, that's not a charge that you can create in Michigan, because that's not on the books, and that's why they're not charged with it either, because if you can charge somebody for not properly locking up a firearm, that could be something that you might be able to charge. They definitely charge it, because they just charge them with involuntary manslaughter. Fucking why? And then didn't alert authorities to the fact that their kid might have had a gun that day. After word got out, okay, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit. After word got out that their kid might have been the shooter, like 15 minutes later, after racing back home, James Crumbley called 911 and said that it might have been his kid. After he realized that the pistol was missing from his home. So, I don't know, man. Even by what you're alleging there, it doesn't even look like it fits based on the facts, but they don't really care about this one because they're getting charged by a Karen. Karen McDonald, the county prosecutor, told the court that evidence showed the parents bought the gun for Ethan Crumbley, pointing to social media posts from Jennifer Crumbley in which she told followers she took Ethan to a shooting range with a weapon that was his Christmas present. What's wrong with that? Okay. Listen, take out the school shooting for a minute, okay? And I know there's a big fucking portion of this, but there's nothing wrong, okay? There's nothing wrong with buying a firearm, taking your kid to the shooting range, and going shooting. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about that whatsoever. What does that have to do with anything? It is clear from the facts that he had total access to the weapon and that it was for him. There's also conflicting reports that there was a trigger guard on the firearm itself. So even if there is an opportunity to charge them with improper storage of the firearm, there was also a guard on it, okay, which isn't like the best way to go about it. Like a trigger guard's kind of retarded. But still, it was something, not necessarily helpful because we still managed to go out and fucking shoot up the school. Then you're going to find some other stuff as well, because if we're living in reality and these people have been charged with involuntary manslaughter, there's some other people who should be culpable if these charges end up sticking, which I don't think they should. She also said the parents tried fleeing from law enforcement. No, they were just, real estate scoping in Detroit. After business hours on Friday, all right, I tried fleeing from law enforcement and urged the court to set bond at $500,000 for each defendant. Okay, so $1 million bond, and I'm not too sure if Michigan has 10% cash, but still, $100,000 for both of these people to get out of fucking jail for shit that they didn't fucking do? Seems excessive now, doesn't it? Arguing that they may try to flee again if they post bond. Listen, these people, it looks like, okay, they don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, so $100,000, even if it's just 10% for fucking bond to put up, you really think even if they manage to get that type of money together, where the fuck would they go after that? Lawyers for the Crumbleys challenged prosecutors' depiction of what happened. Shannon Smith, representing James Crumbley, said the drawer the gun was stored in was actually locked. Yeah, okay. And the prosecutor is stating that this child had free access to the gun. That is absolutely not true. Yeah, basically. She also blamed prosecutors for creating a media spectacle. Oh, buddy, we're just at the fucking tip of this one. It's only going to get worse from here because there's going to be advocates from all sides, okay, coming out and try to make a stand on this case. Especially with, like, for the school shooter himself. No, I don't give a fuck. Fucking put him in the electric chair. Don't give a shit about that fucking creep. But charging the parents? I'm not down with that. That attempts to negotiate a surrender on Friday didn't work because McDonald, Karen, wouldn't respond to text messages or phone calls. Okay. She asked for $50,000 for each bond for each parent. So $100,000 in total. Okay, so 10%. And then what? 10% on that, so $10,000 to get them both out. But still, that's fucked. That is so fucked because these charges are ridiculous. Judge sided with the prosecutors, obviously, because this isn't going to be totally fucking politically motivated. Sided with the prosecutors expressing concern about a flight risk, and obviously. But more information on this one. So, you got Karen there. Obviously, she's got a fucking blonde hair, a bleach blonde, and a bob cut. So, yeah, this ain't gonna end well for anybody involved. So, prosecutors charges parents in Michigan school shooting, says that they should have searched the son's bag. Oh, interesting. Okay, so if we're going to start taking in a whole bunch of other evidence surrounding this situation, shouldn't the school have searched the bag? Considering they pulled the kid aside when they noticed that, okay, A, he was looking on his phone, okay, and let me give you proper context if you've been seeing headlines about this one, okay? The kid was looking for ammo on his phone in class, okay? Listen, he just got a new pistol for Christmas, and he's looking for ammo, especially if he's going out shooting with his family, okay? Thank God he wasn't homeschooled, otherwise, you know what, hey, if you decided to carry out a school shooting, there you go. He's looking for more ammo, okay? And apparently one of the instructors found him looking for ammo and was so shocked and told him to put away his phone and he shouldn't be looking at that type of stuff. And then his mom texted him later and said, I'm not mad at you. You should just work harder on not getting caught. Something like that. It might come up here again. Yeah, learn to not get caught, okay? That's in response to being on your phone in class, okay? Let me give you proper context on that one, okay? I was there, phones were just coming out as I was exiting high school, okay? At least for mass consumption in further northern areas, more remote locations. So, and we still had flip phones, and you could, you know what, hey, you remember the old press a button multiple times in order to get a different letter? You could pretty much, okay, if you still had that textile buttons off to the side, you could pretty much type out exactly what you needed to. If you had the old textile buttons, you could just flip open the phone, select whoever you need to, and then just type away on your phone. You could send out your text messages all willy-nilly. That's totally fine. And kids were constantly getting reprimanded for being on their phone at the time, okay? I could only imagine that shit has gotten a whole hell of a lot worse. And that was just high school, okay? So I'd imagine it's probably trickled down to fucking grade school for whatever shitty parents out there who decide to get their kids a phone when they're in the fucking 4th grade. I'd imagine that's pretty fucking popular. So there's probably a whole bunch of instances of that happening. So it's not like the parents were fucking in on this. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, just don't get caught looking at bullets in school because we know you're going to be shooting it up later. So just keep it on the DL so we don't get charged. That's not what this is about. Don't get caught on your phone in class. She probably does it at work. She's probably been reprimanded for it. Okay, listen, it fucking happens. Okay, again, kid's a piece of shit. Okay, shut everybody up. But let's be fair about the entirety of this situation, okay? Oakland County, Michigan Prosecutor Karen announced Friday that the parents of the Oxford high school shooter were being charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of 4 students earlier this week. McDonald, a Democrat, what? No. Said the parents were culpable because they ought to have known their son was emotionally disturbed and ought to have prevented him from taking a handgun to school. Really? Shouldn't the school have then? Actually, the school had better information on that one, so let's get into this. McDonald described the events leading up to the shooting, noting that the shooter's father, James Crumbley, had bought a handgun for his son, not illegal, and that the shooter's mother, Jennifer Crumbley, had posted proudly about it on social media. Again, not a crime, reprehensible for using social media, but not a fucking crime. When their son was caught in school using his cell phone for searching for information about ammunition. Okay, a little fucking editorial addition there, okay? He was caught on his phone, okay? End sentence. The rest of it, you know what? Hey, it's fun to add on to it because, oh, the kid, oh, his frame of mind, oh, he was looking at guns and bullets. You think he's the only kid who's probably looking for fucking ammunition, or the only kid who's in, you know, the suburbs in the Midwest looking at ammunition, okay? He just got a new gift, okay? It would be like if there's another kid who just got a brand new computer, okay? Just put together another computer, okay? He's looking for upgrades or something, okay? He's looking at video cards, he's looking at a CPU, he's looking at getting more RAM. He probably got caught in class. Okay, so the actual, you know, the shit that he was looking for, not terribly important. But again, you put that in the light of a school shooting come up, and it's like, okay, maybe the school should have known about something. That's not the only thing. Mrs. Crumbley allegedly made light of the school's concerns, telling her son the lesson of the episode was that he should learn not to get caught. Again, proper context on that one, but we need not tread well-worn ground. The prosecutor then said the day before the shooting, a teacher noticed that the shooter had created a drawing with a gun, bloody victims, and a message that said, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." That's fucked, okay? But again, that's a teacher Okay? A teacher noticed that, took a picture of it, okay? It's a fuck drawing. It's, you know what, a whole bunch of fucking crazy shit. But I'm just going to share with you a little bit of a story from my history, from me growing up, okay? This is, take it for what you will, okay? Take it out of the context, okay? A school shooting doesn't happen. This kid's still making all of this kind of stuff. You know, drawing fucking, the thoughts won't stop, help me, oh my god, I drew a gun, fucking blood everywhere. Kid's smoking pot, he's 15 fucking years old. Well, I didn't partake in any of that, and then there were guns around when I was growing up, but, you know, I fucking never touched them or anything like that. And yeah, when you're growing up, you're a little bit fucking moody, okay? And you're a little bit edgy. And two stories, actually. I forget exactly what year it was, but it was either I think it was about junior high school, okay? Both of these stories are within about 3 years or so of one another. Okay, it was like one of the first things that I got in a lot of trouble for, okay? It was writing poetry, such as that. I think it was haikus or something. You had to write haikus. And it was about, if I was to get this right, it was about rabid monkeys, okay? It's just fucking edgelord shit that a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid writes about, and you just, you know what, you have to present it to the class. So it's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then one of the teachers got very disturbed by it, and then my parents ended up coming down, and then, you know what, hey, we all had a big powwow about it at school, and that's like, oh, you should probably, I want you to take this as a moment of concern. And I forget, because it's like, what, 15, 20 years ago at this point? I don't fucking remember all of it. All I remember is a specific situation. And then at the end of the day, yeah, because I got a fucking solid familial structure, I think I caught a pretty good ass whooping. At least enough of a threat that I remembered that I caught a whooping after it. And I was like, oh, okay. And it's like, yeah, specific things that I remember, like I said, I don't really remember a lot about my growing up. Don't remember a lot prior to like getting out of school, but regardless, it's like, yeah, parents were very concerned that I grew up the right way and didn't want them raising something to the effect of like a fan of Marilyn Manson, that kind of like industrial music and that type of fucking weird shit like that. All of that demon-y occult stuff. I love my parents, but for fuck's sakes, we went to a bunch of concerts later in life where it's like, okay, one of the references was Alice Cooper. Went to an Alice Cooper show with my mom, and the last concert that I went to prior to the world fucking closing down was Priest with my dad. So it's like, yeah, your concerns were very well founded. It's just edgy shit that kids do. And again, I didn't shoot up no school. And then, because I said that there were two stories there, it's like, okay, I think this was grade 9 or some shit like that. This was terribly, terribly misconstrued, but then ended up getting fucking kicked up through multiple levels. Okay, like it ended up getting to the principal and ended up getting suspended for it. Where I went up to the teacher's computer, she'd stepped out of the room or something, and she was one of the most, I don't know, respected by the teachers, respected by the principals. It was just a fucking shitty situation. We didn't get along that much, and it was one of my first brushes with just not really respecting authority all that much. And I made a joke that, oh, wouldn't it be funny if one of the folders that she had in her email had porn in it? Obviously it was you know, kind of just a basic little joke. It made some of my friends chuckle and laugh, but some of the other kids that were in the class didn't find it that funny and were very fond of this teacher, brought it up to the teacher, and then, yeah, obviously I ended up getting like a week of in-school suspension. And then also, yeah, I think I probably caught a whooping for that one too. And again, it might have been like an actual whooping, or at least the threat of a whooping, that at least implemented it into my memory so much that might as well have been a whooping. But again, each of those times are less serious than this, and the teachers brought it up to my parents, and there was a conference there, okay, and actions were taken to avoid anything happening from it, okay, whether it just be the embarrassment of the teacher, or that I'd make even edgier fucking poetry about rabid monkeys or some shit like that. So everybody was on the up and up on that one. So don't you think, okay, if you're going to be charging the parents, shouldn't the school be held accountable on this one? But let's just get into more of this information as well. Prosecutor then said, yeah, drew the... We'll just go over this again because I know I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I thought it was important because schools and parents, if you're going to try to hold them accountable, which I don't agree with at all, because you're just opening up the door to a bunch of other crazier fucking things. It's like selling somebody a car. Daryl Adams in Waukesha driving a car through a fucking parade, okay? Are you going to go after the person who sold him the car because, oh, that's just a reckless manslaughter because he just, he took that car and he plowed through a fucking parade. And probably, if it's a white guy who sold him the car, he'd probably get charged for it. You won't go ahead and charge that guy for being a terrorist, but you'll fucking charge this stupid kid. But regardless, okay? Yeah, so drawing a picture with a gun, bloody victims, and a message such as the thoughts won't stop and help me. Clearly a cry for help and attention and being a moody 15-year-old who would later go on to shoot up a school. So again, everything in proper context. The parents were summoned to meet with their son and principal the next day. There they were told they had to obtain counseling for their son within 48 fucking hours. So yeah, okay, the school knew that he was a problem, but not so much of a problem that they don't take him out of school and get him immediately into a counselor. It's like, yeah, okay, listen, we know that he wants to shoot the school up. It's like, okay, fine. You just have to get him counseling within the next couple of days. So yeah, you can just go back to class for the rest of the day. And if you can't get anybody timely, that's all right. We'll let him come back for another day. And then after that, people probably forget about it. But again, only charge the parents. Interesting. According to Karen, they resisted the idea that their son should be pulled out of school immediately over the disturbing drawing. Okay, so they resisted the idea. There's other steps that the school could take in this one. This isn't about, properly applying the rule of law to the people who erred against it. It's about setting a new standard. McDonald partly based her case against the parents on the fact that during the meeting with the principal on school premises, neither parent asked to search the son's bag or asked him where the handgun was. How would they know? Okay, how would they know that the kid took the gun to the school? Okay. And again, okay, if he has a backpack and the school is so concerned about his future actions, why didn't they search the bag? Yeah, exactly. Very, very selective enforcement of that idea. But I guess you don't have any charges pending against the school because why would you sue somebody else who's in your own fucking circle? The shooting took place later that same day, according to McDonald. Jennifer Crumbley texted her son, Ethan, don't do it, after news of the shooting broke in the news. After news of the shooting broke in the news. You should probably fucking word that a little bit better. But again, doesn't that show they're trying to prevent this type of shit from happening? Like, okay, they just go into a meeting where they get shown a picture that their son drew about shooting up a school. Then you hear news that there's a school shooting at your son's school. Oh my God, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to put two and two together and then be like, don't fucking do it. Try to do something, because what are they gonna do? Okay, mom's probably at work or some shit like that, and it's like, well, what the fuck can I do? Okay, don't do it. Are you okay? It's like, I'm sure that there's probably a line of text, but she selectively picked that one out. Maybe. Who knows? She's being very selective with the prosecution, that's for true. McDonald also said that the fact that James Crumbley rushed home to look for the gun after hearing news of the shooting, it's like, okay, how do you spin this? Was evidence that the parents had reason to know beforehand that their son would likely carry out a mass shooting. It's also reason to think that the school should have been doing their due diligence. James Crumbley called 911 upon finding that the gun was missing, saying they believed his son could be the shooter. So how is this manslaughter and how is this negligence? It's not really. The gun had been stored in the Crumbley's bedroom in an unlocked drawer, according to Karen. But then we also found out that it was locked. So what the fuck? And that there were also multiple guns, long guns, seized from the premises as well that were also locked up. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. McDonald, who said she was angry about the shooting, which is always good when you have a prosecutor who is angry, just throwing out charges willy-nilly, is a Democrat who was elected in 2020 and supports left-wing groups like the Color of Change PAC and the ACLU, in a liberal agenda like other left-wing prosecutors elected in 2020. McDonald challenged more centrist Democrats and promised criminal justice reform, although Friday's charges marked a more aggressive stance. Yeah, well, it's against the Second Amendment, and she wants to create precedent where you can start charging parents of people who commit shootings. And then, if anything happens outside of that, any gun-related charges, then you can start going after gun manufacturers. Why would you create something so deadly? And just start roping a bunch of other people people in whenever you have a gun-related offense, and then effectively, without directly going after the Second Amendment, you can just fucking get rid of it. But let's go to Karen's boss, okay? And I know that this video is getting lengthy. This isn't gonna stay local, all right? And again, I was questioning, okay, if the parents are getting charged, because we have to accept reality for what it is. The parents are getting charged with involuntary manslaughter because they were presented with information that their son could be a danger to the school, but who were they presented that information from? The school itself. So shouldn't the school be held accountable on this one? Nah, fuck it. They ain't going to be held accountable on this one because Michigan's Attorney General offers to help Oxford School District probe shooting. Cool. Find more people who could possibly be charged in this one, just not the school itself. Now, why would they do that? Why would there be equal justice pursued in this case? No, they're just trying to set a precedent. Michigan's Attorney General has reached out to the school district in which the shooting took place last week, offering assistance to authorities in their investigations. What could they possibly need help with? Oh, okay, usurping the Second Amendment. I gotcha. Our attorneys and special agents are uniquely qualified to perform an investigation of this magnitude and are prepared to perform an extensive investigation and inquiry to answer the many questions the community has regarding this tragedy. Excuse me, who perpetuated the kidnapping attempt on Gretchen Whitmer? Oh, the feds. Oh, okay, cool. So you're going to be helping us with another gun-related offense? Oh, okay, cool. I get it. All right. Student opened fire within, yeah, we got all of that. Prosecutors say the boy displayed troubling behavior in the days leading up to the shooting. Like the day of, and the school knew all about it. They blamed Ethan's parents for failing to stop the son from carrying out the attack, alleging that the parents should have checked the boy's backpack. It was at the school. Why didn't the school check the boy's backpack? Why didn't they ask to check the backpack? They're being presented with all of this evidence. Why aren't they fucking intervening? What the sheriffs are asking. We would have taken Oxford shooting suspects' guns if the school had alerted us. Charge the fucking school. Don't charge the parents, okay? Or don't charge anybody. But still, charge the shooter, because he's the one fucking ultimately responsible for this one. Don't set the precedent where you can start fucking spiderwebbing out some charges, because that's fucked. And that's not going to end well for anybody. Michigan's Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard said Friday if the school had included resource officers in meetings with parents over concerns of violence, his office would have taken action to be sure the alleged Oxford high school shooter had no access to guns. KPTV reports that Oxford School Superintendent Tim Thorne made clear that the school had not reached the point of actually disciplining the shooter prior to his attack. That's why I wanted to share a couple of my stories with you guys as well, because I did shit that was way under this, but the response to it was way and far above that. So KPTV reports that Oxford Superintendent Tim Thorne made clear that the school had not reached the point of actually disciplining the shooter prior to his attack. Okay, so you have a couple of different instances noted down. Don't you think that kind of warrants one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, cool, you're meeting with the parents, okay, and you wouldn't even do the due diligence of just searching the kid? Like, where was the kid involved in this meeting, okay? Shouldn't he have been in the office at the time that this was going on anyways? And then you're worried about a shooting that could happen. You're apparently aware of the Instagram posts, the ones that we went over on the first or second video, and I can't quite remember. You knew that the kid had the gun and all that type of stuff, so wouldn't this be grounds for searching a locker, searching a backpack, searching his person? You'd think. But there's no thinking going on in this one. Bouchard reacted by saying, in terms of school discipline, he may be right, but at the point, and certainly in the second meeting in the second day, we would have very much wanted our school resource officer in that meeting. He would have taken the protocols we have in place to have the suspect removed from school until action has happened. There you go. Your parents can fucking protest as much as you want, but if you think that it's a danger to the other 1,700 fucking kids that are at the school, you gotta take precautions. Yeah, he needs to go to a counselor, okay? Within the next 48 hours, though. So, you know what, hey, just at your next earliest convenience, we think that he might shoot up the school, but you know what, hey, whatever works for you in your schedule. You know, disrupt both of your guys' work day to come down to the fucking school. So fucking dim. Would have taken protocols, have in place to have the suspect removed from school until the actions happened. For example, the school told him that he had to be in counseling. We would have had him removed from school until that happened. Exactly. or an in-school suspension to have this shit happen, okay? There's a lot of other people that should be on the hook on this one if you're starting to fucking hand out different lawsuits everywhere. Schools should be sued into fucking oblivion, okay? And that should be coming from the parents of those kids that got shot dead, okay? Because, yeah, these are all criminal charges, all right? And obviously, the parents, because of the criminal charges, they're probably also going to be catching some civil suits as well. But if I'm those parents, and if I'm those parents' defense attorneys, and this message gets out there, because a lot of people have been talking about it as well, should be suing the fucking school district, which is basically the state, okay? And you got state money there. You could be suing them into the ground for not taking actions, because you got the sheriff out there talking, and it's like, hey, if they would have just alerted us to this just to the meeting itself and the surrounding circumstances, we would have checked the kid. We would have removed him from class, and we probably would have prevented this from happening, at least on that day. Okay, anything further than that, nobody really knows. But there were red flags there. There were red flags like a fucking North Korea military loyalty parade. They were fucking out there for people to see. But this is once again just going to show you that the public school system is so fucking terrible on multiple fucking levels. Like I said in the first video of the day, this is a recap of a story that we touched on that had multiple developments, but then we got one that we talked about right at the end of last day, I think, and yeah, bigger developments on that one, and that's Chris Cuomo, because that motherfucker got axed, and he's fighting back, and some more lawsuits may be flying on that one. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.